What's going on, guys? Logan with Enduro Engineering here to show you a product that we've developed for these newer KTM group bikes, the KTM, the Husqvarna, and the GasGas. The OEM starter and stop button, they're kind of hard to get your finger in there and press. The button's really stiff, and they kind of just hides in here underneath the throttle housing. So we've had these made up. It's basically to give you the same buttons as what they used to come with the bike, where you have a stop button on one side and a start button on the other side. Really easy to press, really easy to install, and we're going to show you guys how to do that now. First step's going to be removing the OEM buttons. So to do that, you're going to take the headlight mask off. On the W models or the TEs, the FEs, any of the Enduro models, you'll have to take the headlight mask off. Obviously the MX models or the cross country, you've got a number plate. But since we got a W here, it's going to be an 8mm to take off the headlight mask. So these bolts, you actually don't have to unthread all the way. Just loosen them up. That way the headlight mask will just slide out. They're slotted, so just loosen it, pull it up, and then you can basically just lay that over to the side. All right, so in here with all the electrical, you're gonna wanna find this connector here. You've got a blue connector, and then you can follow it in to where the button goes, so you can follow that cable down in. So to release this, you've got a little tab right here. You're gonna press in with your thumb, and then you can pop it out. And then with the connector that goes to the OEM switch, you can see this blue casing right here. We're actually gonna need to pull that out to put it into the Enduro Engineering buttons. All right, so like I said, we're gonna remove this blue inner plastic piece from the OEM button. So to do that, you've got two little tabs on each side. You can take a small screwdriver or a pick or something like that to where you can push those in. And then once you've got them pushed in on both sides, you can grab onto it with some pliers, pull that out. You're gonna need to reuse this in the Enduro Engineering buttons. Okay, so now that we've got that coupler pulled out of there, you're just gonna take the wiring and the button off of the handlebars. So with the W's, you got a little bit of extra clips than you would with the SX or the XEs or the cross country or motocross versions. But you can just unclip the clips here, run the wiring out. We've got a rubber strap on the handlebars, you can remove that. Now we've got the wire completely loose, and we'll just remove the button. So now to remove the button, you're gonna have to slide it off the end of the handlebar. So anything you got on the end of the handlebar that's stopping you from being able to do that. We've got some open-ended handguards on this one, so it's gonna be a little bit easier. If you have full wraps, you'll have to remove that full wrap to slide it off, and then we're gonna slide the throttle housing off. So with the open-ended ones, we've got the handlebar end that we're gonna remove, and then we're just gonna loosen up the throttle housing. You don't need to take these bolts all the way out. There's plenty of cable there. Once it's loose, you can just slide it off the end of the handlebar. And then to remove the buttons, you're gonna take a Torx T15, and you're gonna just loosen that up as well. Like I said, you don't have to remove the bolt all the way, and then it slides right off the end of the handlebar. So now this next step's up to you. I'm gonna just go ahead and put my grip and throttle housing back on, because with the Enduro Engineering ones, we can actually slide it right over the top of the bar. But it's up to you. You can do the step in either way. So you can slide the throttle housing back on and position it where you want it, to where the end of the handlebar is right at the end of the grip. We can tighten these back down in place, and then I'm going to put the handlebar insert on the end of the handlebar back on too before I do the buttons. All right, so what you're going to want to do next, you have the Enduro Engineering buttons here. So it's got the same connector as the OEM button. So that blue piece that you took out, you're gonna wanna put that back in, or put it into the Enduro Engineering buttons. You've got a small rubber gasket, you wanna make sure that's in place before you put this piece in. Slide that in, and then make sure that the side clips clip into those holes. That's gonna prevent that rubber gasket from moving around, from getting water and dirt in there. And then you can just go ahead and plug that right into the bike. From there, now you've got a stop button and a start button. You can route these either way. You can put start button on the left side or the right side. You can put both buttons on one side. This is up to you. There's plenty of cable here to go either way. I like to have the starter button over on the throttle side, so I'm gonna route it that way, with a stop button over on the clutch side. All right, so now I'm just routing my buttons with the cables through how I want them. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you put it in, if you've got the W's where you've got the extra connectors, make sure you route it through there. That's just gonna prevent you from snagging this cable on a tree or anything like that while you're riding. So you can wrap that up, and then the rubber strap that came on the bike for the handlebars, you can put all this together. It's also going to grab onto the brake sensors there as well. Just keeps all that nice and tidy on your handlebars. So now that we've got that side in play, we're going to go ahead and grab the clips that go with this button and tighten this up. All right, so these clips, they just slide right into the slot on both sides of the button. Then you can slide it over the handlebar. Take the little screw. Now you can have this, it depends on which way you put these, but I put the threaded side on the bottom, that way I can get to it with a screwdriver from the top, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever is easier for you to get a screwdriver to it, tighten them up. Just kind of get it started by hand. Then grab a Phillips and go ahead and tighten it. You don't want to over tighten this. This is something that you don't need super tight. Just have it nice and snug on the handlebars. If it does slide just a little, that's okay. Because if you crash or something like that hits it, it'll give versus breaking the button. So if it has a little bit of play on the handlebars, that's good. All right, so now I've got the starter button done all on that side. Like I said, I'm gonna put my kill switch over on the clutch side. So I'm just gonna run it through the same. You've got some clips here that you can use. And then just make sure your cable is where you want it to run. It's not gonna be somewhere where it can get snagged, like I said, on a branch or a tree. And then we're gonna line that up and then repeat the process. You're just gonna take the same clips, hook those up on the kill switch, take the screw, and then run that through. Again, just start it by hand and then grab a Phillips and tighten it up. So here's a tech tip for you, just to keep your cables nice and clean around the bike. There was basically a zip tie here holding the map switch to the master cylinder. So I cut that off. I'm gonna put a new zip tie that's gonna hold both the map switch cable and the kill switch button cable. That way it's just neater, tidier. You're not gonna snag it on some trees and kind of ruin your day that way. So just a small tech tip, put a zip tie on there to hold your cables. All right, so lastly, we just gotta put the headlight mask back on, or like I said, if you got a cross country or motocross bike, you're just gonna put the front number plate back on here. So just get this back in place, slide it into the groove, and then tighten both the 8mm here at the top of the headlight mask. All right, so that's how you install the new Enduro Engineering stop and start buttons on the current KTM, Husqvarna, and GasGas motorcycles. If you want to get yourself a set today, head over to EnduroENG.com and purchase some today.